Grade Africa has launched its latest initiative known as GradeTown. The initiative is expected to create opportunities for youth to showcase their talents and skills while also connecting with peers from different backgrounds and cultures. The event takes place at the Mall of Africa on the 16th of June with live music performances, sports tournaments and more fun activities. For more on this, we are now joined by GradeTown event organizer Zaid Osman. Zaid, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the inaugural Joburg's Ultimate Youth Day celebration is going to be launched next month. Just take us through the idea.
Cool. So the whole idea is just really looking at like events and properties that can cater to the youth, you know. We're in a space with the youth unemployment rapidly high. So we're trying to look at opportunities to create spaces and safe spaces for youth to ultimately get inspired to kind of interact with different activities and stuff happening throughout the day. There's a list of like live performances, there's a list of like sport tournaments and like various kind of other fun activities within the space happening. And I think for us it's really just like letting kids kind of see it, experience it, and you know that might inspire them to kind of lead into one of those directions as well.
All right. Now, there's a slow shift away from the traditional June 16 celebrations where we're looking at the Soweto uprising. Do you believe that the essence of that day should still be communicated to young people? And if so, why not?
I mean, I think it should. I think it's a very important space in our history, and I think it's where we act like we need to celebrate it as much as possible. And I think even moving forward, we need to look at like how we celebrate South African youth culture, you know. So really like uplifting like kids that are really doing stuff, you know, kids that are actually out there hustling and, you know, driving and trying to push, you know, this narrative forward and trying to create opportunities for themselves, but as well as other parts of the youth.
Now, a fundamental focus of the event is to acknowledge young creatives. Why do you believe that this group is not acknowledged in the way that they need to be?
I mean, I think it's, you know, we always like speak to young creatives and there's so much talent, you know, and then these kids get frustrated because there's no opportunities for them. So they're constantly in their areas, you know, doing stuff that they aren't necessarily supposed to be doing because they don't have other options. So for us, it's like, look, you know, let's create a space where kids can really interact, can come together in a full family fun kind of event and really like, you know, showcase their skills, like let them kind of be heard and be seen.
Right. So this event takes place on Youth Day. And out of the range of activities that you mentioned, I mean, there's going to be a lot of performances. There's also interactive, thought-provoking talks. Talk to us about how these will be structured and what are these talks going to be about?
Cool, 100%. So, I mean, I think it's always important to, like, a lot of these kids have idols that they look up to, whether it's artists or sports people within the space. So I think it's kind of just like understanding, like getting these kind of individuals that these kids look up to, you know, to kind of unpack their stories. Because a lot of times there's relatable moments. And those relatable moments, you know, if a kid is looking at something and they have a dream, you know, now they kind of came to like a T-junction, they don't know which way to go. You know, oftentimes, you know, someone was in that position before. So it's kind of just like opening up and letting people kind of understand, like, you know, this was our journey and this is how we really got to it, you know, and really like a lot of sacrifices within that space. So it's kind of just letting people know, like, you know what, this is what you kind of have to go through to really achieve those dreams.
Now, the lineup includes the who's who of the South African music industry. How did you come up with the artists that will be performing on that day?
So, I mean, I think we look at it and, like, really just see, like, who kind of speaks to the youth audience and who the youth kind of, like, looks up to. So just from, like, a lineup perspective, Focalistic, MT, Aries, Kamo Impella, and a list of others. I think these kind of individuals really speak to the youth, and I think they really inspire the youth. So I think it's a great opportunity to have them on the lineup and really perform, but also, you know, open up a bit more for people to kind of, you know, see them in that light.
You made mention a little earlier on about unemployment and a lot of our young people sitting at home and not having jobs. With this particular event, what's the economic boost that the event would possibly be bringing on that day? Because you said, I mean, 1,200 to 1,500 people would be attending this event.
100%. So within the event, we're collaborating with like other local kind of clothing brands. So Grade in itself is a local clothing brand, and then we're also uplifting other creatives. So we kind of see this as a platform for creatives and everyone to be seen, you know. So within that space, whether you know, there's food vendors that we kind of had, to kind of people setting up various activities within the space. So, I mean, I think it's really just about showcasing youth culture and letting kind of everyone kind of play a part within that space.
So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We wish you all the best with this event, and we certainly do hope that the young people who will be in attendance will get the best out of this event, and you will create those jobs out of the people that will be attending. So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Cool. Thanks for having me.